on last episode of Wrestle Rank. But what separates this video game from other button mashers is that it's not just simply button mashing, you also have to toggle the D-pad in the various directions very quickly to build up the power to execute your moves.
I have the power!
I'll beat you, M. Decker! Yeah! Hello everybody, welcome to VGWA World. I'm Cobretti.
And I'm Wally.
And come join us today as we continue Wrestle Rank, as we look through all the wrestling video games. In today's episode, we're going to be looking at Universal Wrestling Corporation, UWC, the prototype not released for the Nintendo Entertainment System.
Per the hidden secret notes that we have found scouring the internet, Thinking Rabbit was the developer of the game in 1988 or maybe 1989, with a hope to release on the Nintendo Entertainment System. That did not happen.
Universal Wrestling Corporation was the precursor to what would eventually become World Championship Wrestling.
With an awesome name like Universal Wrestling Corporation, why would they want to change it to WCW?
Although a prototype of a game, UCW is almost a completed, fully fleshed out video game.
Almost is a good statement there, Cobretti.
I haven't ran into any game-crashing bugs yet.
In 2019, Stefan Reese, also known as Archon1981, uploaded himself playing the video game on YouTube after he acquired the game from a former Nintendo employee. I wish I knew some former Nintendo employees who could give me stuff. How about you, Cobretti?
But I'm not the one who bought a car from a dealer who used to work for Nintendo and didn't help me out one bit.
Yeah, so even when they tell you they worked at Nintendo, doesn't mean they give you free stuff. I learned that a hard way, even when you buy a car from them.
But you know what you can get? An autographed version of In Your House by Ahmed Johnson.
Former co-worker and Hall of Fame 2024.
Stefan Reese then lent the cartridge to the Video Game History Foundation, who ultimately dumped the ROM. The ROM now can be found on many archival sites, including Hidden Palace and archive.org. And here at VGWA World, we're doing our part to help out as well. We are currently working on a mock-up manual for this video game so people will know how to play. It should be released, hopefully, in time for this video.
Shut up, Cobretti. Let's talk. More work. Chop, chop.
But my fingers hurt.
Your back's gonna hurt because you've just taken up landscaping duty.
I am back from the sweltering 115-degree heat index of Texas for my landscaping duty, and let's go play some video games.
I'm calling this one, there is no commercial.
And that is where you are wrong. Cue the commercial. Universal Wrestling Corporation, the #1 corporation in wrestling, proudly presents UWC for the Nintendo Entertainment System. Hey, totally original, not made up character, Jen Ross. What do you think about this video game?
Good God almighty, Larry the King. These graphics are awesome. I almost spilled my barbecue sauce.
Wrestle as your favorite UWC wrestlers, including Road Warrior Animal, Road Warrior Hawk, Sting, Jamming Jimmy Garvin, Sweet Stan Lane, Beautiful Bobby Eaton, The Nature Boy, Ric Flair, and Barry Windham.
Wow, the game makes you feel like you're actually in a wrestling match.
I can't wait to play as my favorite wrestler, Jamming Jimmy Garvin.
Come on, Ric Flair. Woo!
So kids, make sure to ask your parents repeatedly for UWC, the video game, never coming out to a console near you. Brother.
UWC, UWC, UWC. But man, it really makes me want to play this game now. Those voice actors were just the best.
Well, whoever made that commercial does not have a future in marketing. So let's get to some gameplay. In this prototype, you have the option between a single match, tag match, and an elimination series, which you can play against a computer or your friend. When playing against the computer, there are 3 different levels: beginner, professional, and the almighty master.
And if you don't have any friends like us, you can play against the computer and not the stationary second player.
Cheat to win. So let's begin this review by talking about the graphics for this video game.
First thing I'm going to have to say is the red and yellow is very ominous of a wrestler that is not in the game. Brother.
And while the intro music is not necessarily bad, I can't really say it gets me hyped up to play a wrestling video game. It almost reminds me of the Nintendo Sports Series baseball game. And upon selecting your match, you are brought to the character select screen where you have the opportunity to pick one of 8 wrestlers or 4 predetermined tag teams.
So all of you out there who've been wanting to have Animal and Sting as a tag team, you can kiss that goodbye. It ain't going to happen in this game. You're stuck with the Road Warriors, Midnight Express, the 4 Horsemen, and the Odd Couple. Well, I'll give it to the horrible WWF WrestleMania on the NES. It gives you a better character selection screen.
We haven't even got to the end of the review yet, and I'm arguing with you. No, it doesn't. Seriously, look at the graphics on the character select screen for UWC. There is large, colorful images for each wrestler.
Color doesn't mean better, and I didn't know Lex Luger was in this game.
Oh yeah? Look at your viral face honky tonk man who looks like Elvis had a love child with Mr. Beast, and your vaudevillain mustached Hulk Hogan.
Ha! At least you knew who they were. I still can't figure out who's who in this game. And mine give me the names of the characters.
You get the names in UWC once the match starts.
Who in the hell is Slain?
Once the match starts, you see your wrestlers and highly detailed sprites for the Nintendo Entertainment System era.
Wait a second, I thought we were playing AEW. Look at the energetic referee.
I find these wrestler sprites to be better than the World Championship Wrestling video game that came out later.
I'll give the game this much compared to WWF's WrestleMania. The sprites are a lot nicer. I'm still trying to figure out why they all have bent legs, though. That seems to be a trend in other wrestling games. I wonder which ones those were that we covered.
And not only are these sprites highly detailed, the animation is fluid for all your moves and strikes.
There's no slowdown within any of the transitions in the moves.
And I'll have to admit, that background music kind of gets me hyped for the match. So overall, for an unfinished prototype game, so far I've been impressed.
We've played completed games that are way worse than this.
And since earlier you were talking about move transitions, that brings us to the game mechanics of this video game, and one of the most unique mechanics for this game that I haven't seen replicated in any other wrestling video game. Whenever you are grappling, the grappling is initiated whenever 2 players come in close proximity to each other, and they start their lockup in a collar and elbow tie-up. However, you can switch holds to a side headlock to perform additional maneuvers.
You know, this is very reminiscent of the time where they went from the collar and elbow hookup to a headlock. And that was 90% of the moves in a match during the 80s.
In addition to being able to perform grapple maneuvers, you can climb the turnbuckles and fly off to do high-flying aerial maneuvers. And strike your opponent to perform combos.
Hey, don't forget the roll-up pin you can do.
Me personally, I kind of like the Stan Lane nut punch.
Just like in tradition wrestling matches, you can take the match to the outside.
But no wrench. However, you can ram your opponent's head into the ring post. In addition to the smooth graphics and decent audio design, the controls for this video game were actually quite responsive. Once you got past the part where you found out that you had to hit a button 3 times to perform a maneuver.
But hey, there's a learning curve to all video games. So, once you get the hang of it, I believe the game becomes fun with the controls. But I am slow at button mashing.
And due to the fact of lack of documentation, there is a very steep learning curve for this video game. We plan to change that.
Less talky, more worky, Cobretti. So as Cobretti's fingers and back continue to hurt, creating a manual for an unfinished and unreleased video game does take a lot of time and a lot of work, especially for Cobretti. If you look at the manual and you find anything that could be changed or needs to be changed, please reach us in the comments below, and we'll update it in our next revision. And we'll put your name in the credits.
And now this moment is upon us. It is time to rate this game. Wally, what do you give UWC for the NES?
You know, for an unfinished game, Larry the King, I'm going to give it a good. Thanks to modern technology and Stefan Reese for having a friend, we want to thank him.
I give this video game a good as well. And you can only imagine what would have happened if they were given the time to make a full release of UWC. This could have been a great video game. And now for the ranking of this video game. As a unreleased video game, I still think it belongs above the Kinnikuman line.
Cobretti, we're on the same page with that one. I believe it should be above the Kinnikuman, as we have not plugged Kinnikuman at all in this video.
And I'm also going to say that this video game was better than Mat Mania.
Wow, Cobretti, we're 2 for 2 in agreeing on this one. I believe it's better than Mat Mania as well. If this was a complete game, for me, I would have put this above Pro Wrestling. But due to it being an incomplete game, I have to put it just under Superstar.
And for once, I don't think we're going to have much of an argument, because I think that's where it belongs as well. You could make a case that Superstar Pro Wrestling, the AI, is just ridiculous in that video game, and it makes it hard to enjoy. But with that addition of the wrench and special maneuvers that are easier to pull off, I'm still going to have to give it to Superstar Pro Wrestling.
As this game was never on the market and it's only in ROM form, you should really download this and give it a try. It will amaze you at how well the game actually plays and how much fun you would have had in 1989.
So thank you for joining us today, and make sure to join us next time when we review Take Ramen Man for the Nintendo Famicom.
No, 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 no! I refuse! That is not a wrestling game!
But it's part of the Kinnikuman universe, which is a wrestling anime. Come on, man, rep the Kinnikuman! And as always, to everybody who likes, subscribes, leaves comments, good or bad, we appreciate you, and we'll catch you next time.